Hi everyone, Anne Boundy from Said With Love, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, and welcome back to the Edelweiss Sewalong. This is our last week. It's when I'm going to be talking about this beauty. So if you like these kind of videos, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, put the little bell so you get notified of when a new video comes out. It would be very handy and helpful for me. Okay, let's get talking about this quilt, shall we? I love it. The quilting that I've done, I did an all-over design on my long arm, a digital design, and it's called, I think, Trillium, I think it was called. And basically it's kind of this sort of leafy, almost a flower, but not quite kind of design. So I just thought it would be a lovely sort of all-over background, kind of low volume for a quilting design. I much prefer my quilts to do the talking rather than the quilting. So I think it's come up quite well. I used a sort of a mid to darker blue thread, an Aurifil thread, and I'll get the number of it in a second, which means that it sort of doesn't really show much on the background. And whilst it does show when we're on these sort of lighter flowers, when you get to these mid blues, which we've got quite a few of in the pattern, you don't see it terribly much at all. So it doesn't detract from the beautiful flowers and the beautiful leaves, etc. Now, I'm thinking because this quilt is such a stunning quilt. I mean, it's very graphic, the flowers, the vine units, etc., very graphic. Any sort of all over quilting is really not going to detract from it. So whether it's the trillium leaf, vine leaf thing that I've done, or whether you do some sort of floral kind of design, or if you're doing it on your domestic, a meander, a loopy swirl, whatever, is going to look lovely. It's going to make sure that the quilt is the main star of the show and not the quilting. Now, if you wanted to do some free motion quilting, some custom quilting to really make the quilting more of a star of the show, there'd be some fantastic fun things you could do. I've done a little bit of scribbling just to sort of a little bit of a chicken scratch, I think it's called, of what I would perhaps do if I was going to free motion quilt this. And I would be looking at the flower units as one, and then the leaf and vine units as another. And the background I would just do again in something very backgroundy, be it a meander, a stipple, something like that, or perhaps even getting into sort of a free motion leaf kind of design that you could fit in and around all the little spots, etc. If you're going to do free motion quilting on it, I do much prefer the look of stitch in the ditch around the main parts of your design. So for this, I would do a stitch in the ditch all the way around the outside of the flower, and I would do a stitch in the ditch all the way around all of the vine and leaf units as well. And that just puts a barrier, I suppose, between your background quilting and then the quilting that you're going to do on your main parts of your block. I see quite a few people do not only a stitch in the ditch, but then sort of like a 1/4 inch away, an echo line as well to really delineate them. I personally don't like doing that, because then you've got to make sure you're getting your 1/4 inch really nicely. It's very obvious. I just find stitch in the ditch, or as I like to call it, stitch near the ditch, especially if you're using a matching or coordinating thread for your background color and you are just doing just that little bit off the main print of your leaf or your flower, you're not going to see it, even if you sort of make a little bit of a mistake. So that's what I would do. And then coming into the leaves, I would do a little bit of dot to dot kind of quilting. I think Angela Walters calls it that, in terms of perhaps some straight stitching up and down the vine leaf, the vine stem, and then when you get to the leaf, maybe just a nice big leaf kind of motif, you could perhaps put something in it, a little stem of the leaf, just to accentuate that kind of leaf shape would look kind of cool. Then when you're getting down to the big flowers, I would look at the whole flower as your canvas to do your design. My first kind of thought, I'll pop a little picture of it up here, but basically doing sort of orange peels, sort of 2 orange peels in the center, so that you get sort of a little crossed over orange peel sort of shape. That's kind of cute and makes that center look like a sort of a flower center. Or you could put some pebbles in there, depending on how much you love doing pebbles, because remembering if you're doing it in one, you've got to do it in all the others, and that could be a fair bit of pebbles. But it's a defined space. It's not like you're going to do pebbles on the whole background or something like that. So that could be another nice sort of center unit. And then I would again sort of be accentuating this sort of petal shape, and I'd be perhaps doing some, again, orange peel sort of shapes, but that curved sort of shape, and then coming to the corners, perhaps doing another curve over here, and trying to find your path around the flower so that you're not having to break thread too often. So I'll pop up those little pictures, those little chicken scratchings like I suggested, and see whether that's something that you're wanting to do. But seriously, when it comes to this quilt, you could just do straight line stitching over this and it would still look awesome. It is a fantastic quilt. I'm really thrilled with how it's come out. I hope you're having fun making the last of your blocks and starting to put them together and starting to work on your borders and your binding. And I can't forget the back. I haven't shown you the back yet. So I used the Shoreline wide back in navy, and it is just gorgeous. And you can really see the quilting on this. I don't know whether you'll be able to pick it up. I'll show you some pictures of the close-up of the quilting, but it just came up so beautifully. Seriously, you could flip it over and just have that as a sort of a whole cloth quilt on the other side. It would look beautiful. Obviously, using the wide back just meant that I didn't have to piece a backing. It was a bit quicker, so I could get this finished, so I could do this video for you. So I'm thrilled with it. I'm going to be taking it to Quilt Retreat in South Australia this week, or next week, and I can't wait to show it off and have people look at it up close and personal. So I'm glad you joined in on the sew along. Thank you so much for all your lovely comments that people have been making in the last couple of weeks. I've been really touched. That's been lovely. And stay tuned. I'm sure there's going to be another sew along coming up soon. And can't wait to see what you do with your Edelweiss quilt. Pop a comment below. If you're in our Facebook and Quilting and Sew Along group, pop a post in there. If you are joining our Sew Along group on Facebook, please make sure that you answer the 3 membership questions. This is how I try and keep out spammers and not so nice people. So please do that. And look, I think that's it. It's been fantastic fun being sewing along with you for the Edelweiss quilt, and we'll talk soon.